Okay, it's time for today's Business Matters. Americans appear to be feeling more hopeful that negative fallout from the trade war might be past. A new survey released by the University of Michigan shows consumer sentiment surged 16% this month, and that's the first increase since December. The consumer opinion turnaround follows trade tensions that reached their height in April, but current sentiment is still about 20% below December's trading, with much still unsettled. The Trump administration still has trade deals to make. Major reciprocal tariffs will go back into effect next month, July 8th. Rare earths are creating a widespread problem for automakers. Ford Motor CEO told Bloomberg News that it's struggling with its rare earths magnet supply. In fact, Jim Farley said that the car maker had to shut down factories. He described the situation as hand-to-mouth right now. And this is due to, of course, China imposing new export license rules for rare earth minerals and magnets. These are critical components throughout a car, from windshield wipers to audio systems rather. Meanwhile, a somber mood hanging over the aviation industry's largest trade show. The Paris Air Show is still set to take place next week. It's expected to be muted, though, in the wake of the deadly Air India crash. Many aircraft orders are typically placed by airlines at the show. This year, delegates say it's unlikely any commercial order announcements will be made. The engine maker for Boeing 787 planes, GE Aerospace, is also postponing an investor day scheduled to coincide with the show. A nearly $5 billion investment is landing in North Carolina. A California jet maker has selected Greensboro as the destination for its first factory. Here's more.
Engines are warmed up and ready for startup Jet Zero's first manufacturing plant. The California plane maker announced that it will invest $4.7 billion to build its next-generation passenger jet factory in central North Carolina. A Commerce Department official said the company looked at more than 25 sites across 17 states for over a year before selecting Greensboro. The factory will build Jet Zero's fixed-wing Z4 aircraft, also known as an all-wing or blended-wing aircraft. The company says this jet is 50% more fuel efficient than traditional planes. Jet Zero will be entering a market dominated by industry leaders Boeing and Airbus. If successful, the project is projected to create about 15,000 jobs over a decade. North Carolina's governor said this would be the largest job commitment in state history. Hiring is planned to start in 2027. As for the planes themselves, the goal is for the jets to go into service in the early 2030s.
The head of Air France, KLM, expressing confidence in the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. At the same time, he expressed condolences to Air India and those affected by the deadly crash. He said he has 34 787s in the Air France and KLM fleet. Speaking at the same press conference, the CEO of Airbus also expressed condolences to the families of crash victims. Air India's air agency, or accident agency rather, is investigating the cause of the crash, which killed more than 240 people. Safety experts have cautioned it's too early to speculate on the causes. India's aviation regulator today directed Air India to carry out safety inspections on its Boeing 787 fleet. Meanwhile, Boeing leadership is back in crisis mode following the deadly crash of the Air India 787-8 Dreamliner jet. The incident also spells big trouble for the airline's turnaround plans. Here's more.
Now the incident has Boeing bosses back in crisis mode, with the 787 one of the firm's best-selling models. It's in service with many of the world's big airlines, threatening chaos if they are taken out of service. Boeing was also still recovering from the damage to its reputation caused by previous fatal crashes involving its 737 MAX. It has also faced repeated questions over its manufacturing quality. On Thursday, company boss Kelly Ortberg said he would scrap plans to attend next week's Paris Air Show, instead focusing on the investigation into the crash. For now, officials say there's no evidence to suggest design or manufacturing flaws played a role. In the US, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy said watchdogs would act fast in response to any new findings.
If there's a need for a change due to something that we learn on this crash, new information, we make those changes immediately because, again, safety is the top priority, yes.
The engines on the jet were made by US giant GE Aerospace, which will also be involved in investigations. Now the crash is a huge blow to Air India, which had set out plans to rebuild itself after years of underinvestment. It has placed orders for 570 new planes in recent years and was in talks for dozens more. Boss Campbell Wilson warned of a difficult road ahead.
The investigations will take time, but anything we can do now, we are doing.
The airline's reputation may rest on what is uncovered in the days ahead.
Nearly all the iPhones exported by Foxconn from India went to the United States between March and May. That's according to customs data. That's far above the 2024 average of 50% India-made iPhones, and a clear sign, of course, Apple's efforts to bypass U.S. tariffs imposed on China. The numbers show Apple has realigned its India exports to almost exclusively serve the U.S. market. Previously, the India-made devices were distributed more evenly to various countries. In the first 5 months of this year, Foxconn has already sent iPhones worth $4.4 billion to the U.S. from India, compared to $3.7 billion in the whole of 2024. India's Prime Minister has in recent years promoted India as a smartphone manufacturing hub, but high duties on importing mobile phones and components means it's still expensive to produce devices there. And Apple's iPhone sales rose to the top spot in China in May. Global iPhone sales grew 15% year over year during April and May. So data from Counterpoint Research shows it was Apple's strongest performance for the 2-month period since the COVID-19 pandemic. The increase in global sales was primarily driven by a return to growth in Apple's 2 largest markets, China, of course, and the United States. That's according to preliminary Counterpoint data. Counterpoint said Apple was aided in part by tariff dodgers and also saw double-digit increases in Japan, India, and the Middle Eastern markets. Apple is also offering a digital U.S. passport feature to Apple Wallet. It allows users to securely and privately store and present their ID information using their iPhone or Apple Watch, but it's not considered a passport replacement. NTD's Sean Marshall has the story.
Apple's fancy new passport feature allows users to turn their iPhone or Apple Watch into a digital ID accepted by TSA. It offers a secure and private new way for users to store and present their ID information while traveling from airport to airport. Users can seamlessly create and add a digital ID to Apple Wallet using a U.S. passport. With Real ID implementation now in effect, Digital ID provides another way for users to present an ID in person at select TSA checkpoints for identity verification purposes. But it's not a replacement for a physical passport. It can only be used domestically. It cannot be used for international travel or border crossing in place of a U.S. passport. Like all IDs in Apple Wallet, this new solution takes advantage of features already built into iPhone and Apple Watch. Apple Wallet also lets users present their eligible driver's license or state ID to websites for age and identity verification, beginning with Chime, Turo, Uber Eats, and U.S. Bank, as well as the motor vehicle departments in Arizona, Georgia, and Maryland. Sean Marshall, NTD News.
California regulators are investigating a hotspot following the state's devastating fires this year. The state's Department of Insurance has launched an official market conduct examination into State Farm's general handling of claims. So this is in response to widespread complaints from policyholders. In January, the deadly Palisades and Eton fires erupted, scorching some 37,000 acres and destroying more than 16,000 structures. And as the state's largest home insurer, State Farm said to date it has received about 13,000 related claims and has paid nearly $4 billion so far. State Farm said it is cooperating and said a fair review will show customers are being helped. Meet some of New Jersey's newest residents, a robot fleet making Uber Eats deliveries downtown. The compact robots with changing electronic facial expressions are a common sight in downtown Jersey City these days. These robots have partnered with Uber Eats to deliver food orders throughout the bustling downtown area. Manufacturer Avride previously deployed its food delivery robots in Austin and Dallas, Texas. The Jersey City rollout is their East Coast debut.
If you follow a robot around Jersey City, you can see people taking photos, smiling and engaging with the robots. In this particular operating area in Jersey City, we have around 30 robots and it's increasing all the time. The only way the robot lid can be opened is through the customer's app. So someone couldn't, for example, come and just open the lid and take out your food. So it's very, very secure.
Each robot can operate for 10 hours on a full charge with a maximum speed of 5 miles per hour. Customers have the option to select delivery by either a human or a robot courier when placing an order through the Uber Eats app. The robots do not accept tips. Uber plans to expand the fleet. They report thousands of deliveries to date, and the robots are identified by unique numbers rather than names. They navigate the densely populated city using an array of sensors. This includes LiDAR, which creates a 3D image of the surroundings. It's similar to self-driving cars. Prescription updates and political messages is what CVS customers signed up for, or that's the question at least. That's what Louisiana's Attorney General is trying to figure out. Liz Murrill is investigating whether the pharmaceutical chain improperly used its customers' information by sending out text messages opposing a proposed state law. The proposed legislation, which has failed, would have banned companies from owning both pharmacy benefit managers and drugstores. CVS owns retail pharmacies and CVS Caremark, one of the country's top pharmacy benefit managers. Murrill also plans to issue a cease and desist letter to stop the messages. Top Japanese tea brand Eton's latest push to win over U.S. customers with its traditional unsweetened brew faces tariff challenges. The company has a partnership with Major League Baseball star Shohei Ohtani. It launched a less bitter tea to capture a bigger slice of the lucrative growth market and is now debating whether to hike prices or move production. Eton retailers and distributors may resist raising prices for fear of losing sales. Eton last raised prices in the U.S. in 2022. The 10% increase was accompanied by a sales drop of around 5%. Eton is also considering making the tea bags in the United States an option and bottling drinks here rather than in Japan, Taiwan, and Thailand as it does now. Okay, on to markets. Wall Street ended sharply lower today after Iran launched missiles at Israel in retaliation for Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear and missile sites. It's rattling global markets, no surprise there, and of course, investor confidence. Oil prices surged nearly 7% amid concerns the conflict could disrupt crude supplies. As a result, U.S. energy stocks rose while airline stocks declined due to anticipated fuel cost increases. And defense stocks gained as anticipated. Adobe shares fell as investors worried about the company was lagging in AI adoption despite raising its revenue forecast. In contrast, Oracle surged to a record high on strong demand for its AI services. Visa and MasterCard declined after reports that major retailers are exploring cryptocurrencies that could bypass traditional payment networks. So despite geopolitical tensions, recent U.S. economic data, that's including tame inflation reports, steady jobless claims, and improved consumer sentiment is proving to be positive on the market. And that is it for today's Business Matters.